Welcome to class. I'm so glad that you are here with me tonight, even though we're apart. You've set up your technology, you've got your mat or your blanket, and you've decided to make this choice to practice yoga for the next hour. That's pretty great. Welcome. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Amanda McIntire, and this is the OLLI Beginning Yoga class. For those of you who do know me, welcome back. I'm really glad that you're here. This is a beginner's yoga class that OLLI has been offering for free all summer long to folks online. So I know people have been sharing the link, and please continue to do that. I'm really glad you're taking advantage of this really great opportunity through OLLI. And we're going to be continuing through the end of August, but starting in September, we're going to start resuming, classes again. They will not be in-person classes as of yet, but we will be transitioning to some online formats. So if you haven't checked it out, go on to the OLLI website. The offerings for the fall are listed along with the schedule. I don't think that the registration is quite open yet, but it should be very soon. So if you want to continue with me September and beyond, please do consider registering for the class. It's going to be on Wednesdays, September through November. So check that out, but also check out the other offerings that OLLI has going on. They've got all kinds of stuff related to the natural world and food and our personal wellness, social justice and music, all kinds of great stuff. So please check it out, and I'm really glad that you're participating tonight. This is a do what works best for you kind of class. So if you need to take a break while we're doing something because it's a little bit more than you needed tonight, or whether you want to hold a posture a little longer than I'm suggesting, that's totally up to you. You get to decide what feels good in your body just during this one specific hour together. So take advantage of this opportunity and be really kind to yourself in your body and in your mind. You know what you're working with. If your shoulder's bothering you today, or you stubbed your toe, or whatever the case may be, do what you need to protect yourself and do what's going to work best for you. So I think that those were like my main things that I wanted to, my housekeeping items. Did you happen to notice, there's a little more light, did you happen to notice the moon? If you didn't, I do encourage you to check it out tonight. Today happens to be the actual full moon, but it's been pretty magnificent over the weekend. And for those of you who attend my class regularly, you know that I really love the moon, and full moon energy is something that's really pretty fascinating to me. Quick little aside, the full moon today is the sturgeon moon. And I, of course, had to look this up because these different moons are perplexing to me. But the sturgeon moon is the time when the sturgeon are most plentiful in the Great Lakes and in Lake Champlain, according to the Old Farmer's Almanac. So I thought that was kind of cool, especially since I'm here in Vermont right now. So I've never seen a live sturgeon before, though, so maybe that's something in my future. But at any rate, so sturgeon moon, moon energy. So for those of us who are perhaps attuned to astrological cycles, or for those of us who perhaps work with people on a regular basis, we often are able to sort of predict when the full moon is, or maybe you notice it in your pets or animals that you have at home. The full moon is this time where energy levels really, really rise. And oftentimes that energy ends up playing out in ways that can be erratic or anxiety-inducing, unsettling. Oftentimes people report having difficulty sleeping during the full moon. And kind of cool, the full moon occurs when the moon and the earth and the sun are in perfect alignment with one another. So that kind of raises the gravitational force, raises the energy level. So if you ever kind of start to feel a little unsettled around the full moon, you're in good company, because that's certainly not uncommon. So the full moon is a time for us really to try to recharge, to reflect, and to turn inward as a way to try to counterbalance these more chaotic types of energies that are going on during this time in the moon phase. And kind of cool, in this class we practice Hatha yoga, which is the yoga that is identified with movement. and Hatha means sun, moon in Sanskrit. And part of the goal in Hatha yoga is to balance these two energies between the sun and the moon. And in yoga philosophy, those energies are also associated with heat and coolness, with masculine and with the feminine. So there's all these balances that we're trying to make in the yoga practice to try to counterbalance what's going on externally to us. So today, as we go through our practice, I'm going to offer up this idea of finding some different ways to balance our energies. And also some traditional sorts of moon postures that maybe you didn't realize were associated with the moon, but sort of to keep it in a moon type theme. But I want you to just do the best that you can, do what works best for you, and we'll do our best to try to strike some balance in our moon energies tonight. So with that, do your best to find a comfortable seat, sitting up nice and tall. Tonight I'm sitting on a block because that feels more comfortable for my hips. You can sit on a block, directly on your mat, or on a blanket. But wherever you're sitting, make sure that the weight is evenly distributed between both of your hips, and sometimes it helps to pull the fleshy part away from your sits bones to broaden. And sit up nice and tall, extending the crown of your head straight up towards the ceiling, keeping your chin parallel to the floor. Keep your hands on your knees or thighs and let your shoulders relax. And for now, keep your eyes open before we move into some seated meditation, because I want to explore a little bit of pranayama with you tonight. Pranayama is a general term for breath work. So it's when we do something to alter the natural movement in our breath. Nadi Shodhana is one of my favorite types of breath practices. It is alternate nostril breathing, and it translates to energy channel purification. So nadis are energy channels that are in the body, and the Shodhana is the purification. So I'm going to demonstrate it for you, and then I'm going to instruct you on how to do this practice to try it out. If you have tissues nearby, that can be helpful in case you're a little bit stuffy today. But Nadi Shodhana, I'll show you what it looks like first. We do it with the right hand, and you use your thumb and your ring finger blocking off the nostrils, and then we alternate breathing through each side of the nose. So inhaling through the right side, closing that nostril, opening the left side, and exhaling out through the left. Inhaling back through the left, closing the nostril, opening the right side, and exhaling back out. So I'm going to instruct you in doing that now that you've seen a little bit about what that looks like. No pressure. If it starts to make you feel like you're having difficulty breathing, you can just let go of the practice. But otherwise, we're going to be moving the air through either side of the nose and throughout the sinuses, which might be a new experience for you. So we're going to start with the right hand. So lift your right hand up, and we're going to take the pointer finger and the middle finger and fold it down so that we've got good access to the ring finger and your thumb. And then you're going to take your ring finger and your thumb, and you're going to pinch gently up towards the bridge of your nose. So it should be pretty hard up there. There's cartilage up there. And gently start to move the fingers down towards the very top of where the nostrils begin. And you should very gently be able to squeeze both fingers and close off the nostrils, and then very gently release the pressure to be able to breathe easily again. So just try that out, just gently squeezing both fingers and then releasing it. So this is a very subtle motion. You don't have to go down any further than just the very top of the nostrils. And now we're going to try alternating the nostrils. So beginning with the thumb closing the right nostril, release your ring finger and inhale through the left side. Use your ring finger to close the left nostril, release the thumb, opening the right side, and exhale out the right nostril. Inhale through the right nostril. Close it off with the thumb, release the ring finger, and exhale through the left side. Inhale through the left side once again. Block it off with the ring finger, release the thumb, exhale out through the right. Inhale through the right. Gently block with the thumb, release the ring finger, exhale through the left. If it's more comfortable to close your eyes here, go for it, and continue through this alternate nostril breathing. Exhaling and inhaling on one side, closing the nostril, opening the other side. Exhaling fully. And inhaling, and just do your best with it, switching sides. Then go ahead and do one more round on either side. And we're going to end up exhaling through the left nostril. And after you do that, release both hands down to your thighs and close your eyes for a moment. Let your breathing return back to normal and just check in with yourself. Notice how you're feeling. Maybe you notice some sort of a difference from before doing the alternate nostril breathing. Maybe not. Just check it out. The idea in this breath practice is to balance out the energies in the body, the two sides of the brain, to help regulate your body temperature and find some balance between energy and relaxation. Still with the eyes closed, bring your palms together in prayer position in front of your heart, sitting up nice and tall. And we're going to begin our practice together by chanting the sound of Om. And we're going to just chant it one time. And you can chant as loudly or as softly as you would like. Take a full exhale. And a full inhale for Om. Release your hands down to your thighs and gently let your eyes flutter open. Just notice what you feel like after all of that breath work. Keep sitting up nice and tall, nice long spine, and hands are on your knees or thighs. Gently tip your left ear towards the left shoulder, and then drawing a half moon, drop the chin down towards the chest, opening up the back of the neck as you roll your head over towards the right side. So right ear to the right shoulder. And then once again, drop the chin towards the chest as you work your way over towards the left. And then one more round, dropping the chin as you slowly work your way over towards the right, keeping the shoulders relaxed down on the back. And then once you reach the right side, dropping the chin and working your way over to the left. And then release and bring your head back to center. Bring your shoulders up by your ears. Maybe they were already there already, but see if you can get them up a little bit higher. And then on an exhale, let your shoulders relax down. Nice. Keeping that nice relaxation in the shoulders. Just gently bring both shoulders forward. See if you can do both of them at the same time. That might be challenging. Just notice. And then roll both shoulders back. Nice. Bring the chest forward as you sit up nice and tall here. Great. And then come to stillness. Keep sitting up nice and tall. We're going to go into a seated side bend, and I'm going to remove the block from underneath my seat because my arms are short, and I like to be able to connect to the ground. You decide whether you want a block or blanket or to sit on the floor. But we'll begin by sitting up nice and tall and placing the left hand on the floor. As you inhale, sweep the right arm up overhead as you look down at your left hand. And you can stay here, or if you wanted to go a little further, you could try moving your left hand out further to the side. Maybe you can even bring your forearm closer to the floor. Maybe not, but you're welcome to try it out. Keep that right hip rooted. And then gently start to turn the head so you're looking forward and then up towards your lifted hand if your neck will allow. Remember to stay relaxed in the shoulders here. And then nice and strong in the belly as you inhale, come all the way up to center. And then we'll do the other side. So right hand to the floor, inhale to sweep the left arm overhead. Take a look down at the right hand, and if it feels good, you can scoot the right hand over towards the edge more, maybe even bringing your forearm parallel to the mat. Play around with what feels like you're really getting the most openness through the shoulders and neck here. And then turn the head, maybe even looking up towards your lifted hand, getting some motion through the neck, the shoulders. As you inhale, come all the way back up to center. Nice. Let's go on to our hands and knees in a tabletop position on all fours. And this is a great time to cushion your knees if you're on a hard floor or your knees are a little sensitive. You can always use a blanket or fold your mat over. We're going to align the hips over the knees. Your toes are pointed, so the tops of your feet are on the mat. And your feet should be directly behind your knees so that when you look down, you can't see your feet. Shoulders are over your wrists. And on an inhale, we're going to drop the belly and chest as we look up towards the ceiling for cow pose. And then on an exhale, you're going to tuck the tailbone, pull your belly in, hollow the chest as you round the shoulders. Cat pose. Inhale again, dropping the chest and belly, tipping the pelvis and looking up. Exhale as you round the spine, pulling the belly in, pressing the shoulders up. And just do a couple more of these in your own time and your own breath. Inhaling as you drop the chest and belly. Exhaling as you arch the back up towards the ceiling. And after your next exhale, we're going to come back to a neutral spine, which is a nice flat back. That might mean pulling in your abdominal muscles a little bit to keep this lower back nice and flat. On an inhale, float your right fingertips up towards the ceiling. So this is a twist towards the side. You reach your right fingertips towards the side and up towards the sky. And then exhale to lower the right hand back down to the mat. And we'll do the other side. Inhale, sweep the left arm out to the side, fingertips up towards the ceiling. See if you can look up towards that lifted hand. And only go as far as feels good for you. So if your fingertips don't reach up towards the ceiling, that's fine. You do what works for this shoulder. Exhale and lower the lifted hand back down. Nice and strong here. Extend your right arm directly out in front of you. And on an inhale, extend the left leg directly behind you. That left leg is at hip height. The foot is flexed so the toes are towards the floor. You're really reaching. There's some balancing going on here. So you're strong in the belly. You're hugging in at the thighs. Nice job. Lower your left knee down to the floor. We still have the right arm extended out. See if you're able to shift your weight. Can you lift your right leg behind you? Whoa, we don't usually do this. You might be falling over. You might find it helpful to take your left hand and scoot it out to the edge a little bit more. Be kind to yourself, especially to your knee here or anything else that might be a little cranky. All right, lower your hand and knee back down to the floor. Shake it out a little bit. What the heck was that? Just trying out a little bit of balance, a little new perspective. Let's find what the other side is like. So come back into a nice strong table. And on an inhale, extend your left arm directly out in front. All right, strong and steady. Right leg extends directly behind you. Nice. And you might feel a little bit of wobbliness here. And if you do, think about hugging everything into the midline. Get nice and strong in your core and in your thighs. Steady breath. There's definitely some balancing element going on here, even though we have opposite hand and opposite knee. All right, we're going to lower the right knee down, start to shift the weight a little bit. Woo, see if you can extend your left leg behind you. Maybe you need to scoot your right hand more towards the edge of the mat. Doesn't have to be pretty. Maybe it is. Just try your best. Nice. Lower the hand and knee back down to the mat. Once again, take any motions that might feel good here. Hip circles can be nice, wrist circles, child's pose. Come on up to all fours one more time. Step your right foot forward to a low lunge and bring your hands to your thighs as you stand up nice and tall on that back knee. Nice. So I'm starting out with my knee aligned over the ankle. On an inhale, Arms come up overhead, and then steeple the fingers. So you've got the pointer fingers pointing up towards the ceiling. The other fingers are interlaced. Lots of space between the ears and shoulders. On an exhale, start to shift the weight in the hips forward here, and then a little bit of a back bend as you look up towards the ceiling. Now, if this is bothering your shoulders or you're feeling a little unbalanced, you can always take your hands and place them on your hips instead if that feels more grounded for you. All right, exhale to come back to center, releasing your arms down by your sides. Place your left hand on the bent knee. On an inhale, sweep the right arm behind you for a twist. And if you can, maybe look over the right shoulder, see if you can see your right thumb in the back. All right, unwind back to center. And we're going to switch sides. So bring your hands to the floor. Right knee returns to the mat as you step the left foot forward. And do whatever you need to adjust. Maybe your right knee is the one that needs some cushioning. Feel free to take the time to do that. Stand up nice and tall on the back knee. Core is nice and strong. Inhale to float the arms up overhead. Steeple the fingers once again. And on an exhale, shift the weight in the hips forward. The knee can come forward. A little bit of a back bend as you arch up towards the ceiling. Stay strong in the belly and in the thighs. Keep that front foot really grounded. You can always place your hands on your hips if that works better for you. Exhale to come back to center, releasing your arms down. And then we'll place the right hand on the bent knee. Inhale to sweep the left arm behind you for a twist. On your next exhale, unwind back to center. Place both hands on the mat. Bring the left knee back to meet the right. And make your way back into a child's pose. So big toes are together, knees are wide as you extend your fingertips up towards the top of your mat. If you can connect your head, your forehead to the floor, do that. Maybe a block might be a nice thing here for the forehead. In this child's pose, see if you can lengthen the spine. So creeping the fingertips up towards the top of the mat, see if you can move your hips away from the hands. On your next inhale, come on up to all fours and tabletop again. Walk the knees back a couple of inches. Walk the hands forward a couple of inches. Tuck your toes and make your way up to plank, top of a push-up. So do any scooting that you need to get there. The legs are straight, shoulders are aligned over the wrists, and you're looking out on the floor ahead of your mat, nice and strong. Steady breath. All right, keep your hands and feet where they are. Press into the hands, push the hips up and back to downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. When you get there, pedal the feet out, wiggle the hips. Always have to have some down dogs in there when you're talking about the moon, since the moon does have so much influence over our four-legged friends. All right, come to stillness with the legs. Walk your feet forward, coming to the top of your mat at a forward fold. So feet are hips distance apart and parallel. Legs are as straight as they can be, but if you need them to be bent here, that's totally fine. Don't worry about it. We're just warming up. You're hinged forward at the hips. Head is relaxed. Crown of the head towards the floor. Let your arms be relaxed. Hands can go wherever is comfortable. So thighs, shins, the floor, or blocks. Bend your knees. On an inhale, reach your arms wide as you come all the way up to standing. Arms up overhead. Connect the palms and bring your hands to heart center. Nice job. Let's find mountain pose or Tadasana. So here your feet are hips distance apart and parallel. There's this energy that's pulling up from your feet into your shins and thighs. So we're hugging in at the shins as the thighs extend out, nice and strong in the kneecaps. Hands are on the hips, get strong in the core here. So lower abdominals pull in, ribs tuck down. Arms are down by your sides with nice relaxed shoulders as you straighten the legs. Nice. Inhale to float the arms up overhead. And once again, steeple the fingers. Lots of space between the ears. Keep your shoulders. Lots of space between your ears and your shoulders. Keep even weight between both of your feet. As you inhale, lengthen, so get a little bit taller. As you exhale, arch over towards the left side. And we're trying to keep the length on both sides of the body equal. So if you're finding yourself collapsing on the left side, maybe back off a little bit so that you're finding a nice arch. Inhale to come back to center. Stand up nice and tall, and we'll go over towards the right side. Make sure you're still pressing down into that left foot. So in many yoga practices, this posture is called crescent pose, after the crescent moon. In my practice, I call this a standing side bend because I have other things I call crescent, but you may have gone to classes where this is crescent. So we'll do one more on either side, really opening up each side of the torso. Last time, over towards the right. Nice. Keep breathing, keep the shoulders relaxed. Inhale to come back to center. Reach your fingertips up towards the sky. As you exhale, hinge at the hips and fold all the way forward. Nice job. If you're using blocks tonight, make sure that you have them up at the top of your mat. From here, step your right foot back to a lunge. Front knee lines up with the front ankle. Right hand connects to the floor or a block for a twist as we reach the left fingertips up. So there's a lot going on in this twist. That back leg is straight. Your back heel is lifted. Right hand is connected to the floor or a block as your left fingertips reach up towards the ceiling. And you can be looking down at the floor, towards the sidewall, or up towards your lifted hand. On an exhale, lower the hand back down and make your way back to plank, top of a push-up. And if you need to drop the knees first, that's fine. And if you don't, that's fine too. But get nice and strong in this posture, also called Utthita Chaturanga. Core is tucked in, you're pressing into the heels of your hands. And then lower the knees, point your toes, and as you exhale, bring your chest all the way down to the floor. Elbows are tucked in, hands are under your shoulders, legs are straight and toes are pointed. As you exhale, using your abdominal muscles, peel the chest up off of the floor. Very little weight in your hands for this baby cobra. Exhale and lower back down. Tuck your toes. We're going to go back to downward facing dog. You can go through tabletop first. You can push up to plank first, but we will meet in Adho Mukha Svanasana, pressing into the hands with the hips moving up and back. Take a look at your hands and starting with the right foot, walk your way up to the top of your mat, coming to a forward fold. Bend your knees, inhale, reach your arms wide as you come all the way up. Connect the palms, exhale, and bring your hands to heart center. So that was the first half of a sun salutation. We do need to balance out this moon energy tonight, so we'll start with a little Surya Namaskara or sun salutation. We get to do the other side now. How exciting. So find yourself in mountain pose, tall and strong, ready for what comes next. Inhale and float the arms up. Take a look up, keep the shoulders relaxed. Exhale, hinge at the hips and fold all the way forward. This time we'll step the left foot back to a lunge and make sure you make a connection between your hands and something. So if your fingers connect to the floor, that's great. If you have blocks, that can be a nice bonus as well. And if you don't have blocks and the floor seems a little far away, you can always try using some other objects, steepling the fingers. We'll take the left hand and place it on the floor or on the block. And as you inhale, sweep the right fingertips up for a twist. Make sure your breath is steady and that you're listening to your body. Exhale to lower the right hand back down. Make your way back to plank, top of a push-up. Nice and strong here. Make sure that you're breathing fully and completely. The breath is such a gift, and in the yoga practice, it's a really great gauge to know maybe if we need to be giving ourselves a bit of a break. On an exhale, you can either drop the knees or lower down in one straight line, coming on to your belly on the floor. Hands are underneath your shoulders. Legs are straight. As you inhale, once again, peel the chest up. Exhale to lower back down. Tuck your toes and either going through tabletop or plank, make your way back to downward facing dog. Take a look at your hands and starting with your left foot, walk your way forward to the top of your mat, coming to a forward fold. Bend your knees, inhale, reach your arms wide as you come all the way up, arms up overhead. Exhale, and hands come to heart center. Nice job. Shake it out a little bit. Get some water if you need to. And if you have yoga blocks, do make sure that you have one up at the ready at the top of your mat. Because we are doing moon postures tonight, we will be doing half moon and revolved half moon. I encourage you to use something to get a little closer to the floor. So yoga blocks are a great way to do that. Another great way to do that is if you have like a chair or a sofa or something like that that you can reach for. Totally acceptable. Isn't that great? Because we're practicing at home, we can use these extra little tools. So get your setup ready. Stand up nice and tall at the top of your mat. And notice that I have my block off of the mat in front of my right foot. So that's a little tip for you. All right, feel your left foot firmly rooted into the floor. Stand up nice and tall and begin to shift your weight on an inhale, starting to lift the right knee up in front of you, trying to create space between your right foot and the floor. Now, if there's no space between your right foot and the floor tonight, that's totally fine. You can still do all this stuff. Make sure that you're standing as steady as you can, regardless of your foot height. And then gently step your right toes back to a crescent lunge. Crescent lunge, Anjaneyasana. Release your arms down by your sides and make any adjustments you need to. So maybe you need to scoot your left foot more towards the edge of the mat. Maybe you need to reset your shoulders on the back. But find yourself here. Inhale to reach the arms up overhead. Steeple the fingers, and you can either stay here or arch back a little bit to open up your crescent warrior. Inhale to come back to center. Release your hands, bringing them down to your hips. Scoot your back foot in just a little bit especially if you were in a really deep lunge. All right, left foot is rooted. We're aiming for the block or whatever you might have at your reach. Right hand goes to the block. Left foot takes the weight, and we're going to try to reach the right foot off of the mat. So in this posture right now, we've got opposites going on. We've got the left foot on the mat. We've got the right hand on the block. Left hand is on the hip. Right foot is lifted. This might be plenty for you tonight. And if it is, perfect. Keep doing your best here. If you want a little extra challenge, I invite you to make sure the weight's poured into the standing legs, so you're not poured into the block. And on an inhale, reach your left fingertips up for Avrita, Ardha Chandrasana, or revolved half moon. And your twist might be something more closer to the floor. Maybe your fingertips are up towards the ceiling. Just try your best with it. Remember, we're just trying to balance out this moon energy, that's all. No pressure. All right, if your fingertips are lifted, bring your hand to the hip, come back to center. Everyone bring your right toes back down to the floor so that you're in a lunge. Nice. Kick off the back foot, come on up to the top of your mat. Shake it out a little bit if you need to. I'm always good for a little shake up at the top of the mat. And then we're going to switch sides. So move your block. Again, notice I've got it almost a foot in front of my mat, in front of my left foot. Stand up nice and tall and feel your right foot firmly rooted. Core is nice and strong. You're hugging everything into the midline. Start to shift your weight as you inhale. We'll see if we can get some space between the left foot and the floor. Again, what's important here is staying really grounded in the standing foot. So maybe your left foot's connected to the mat, maybe not. Not too worried about that. Stand up nice and tall. All right, with as much control as you've got, gently step your left toes back to crescent lunge, Anjaneyasana on this side. And again, make any adjustments you need to feel more stability here. Release your arms down by your sides as you stand up nice and tall. And then inhale to float the fingertips up, steepling the fingers. You can stay right here looking straight ahead, or you can join me in a little bit of a back bend. Remember to keep hugging into the midline, hugging in at the thighs, at the belly, at the shins. Steady breath. Exhale to come back to center. Release your hands down to the hips. Scoot your back foot in just a little bit to give yourself some more stability. Keep your right hand on the hip. Left hand is aiming for the block. Begin to pour your weight into the right foot as the left foot lifts. And maybe tonight, maybe that left foot doesn't lift so much. And that's totally fine. We're trying to get this sensation of balancing on opposite sides. So right foot on the floor, left hand on the block. You can either stay right here, or you can try the twist by floating the right fingertips up, trying to spiral the chest. And if you find that it feels like you can't spiral very far, join the club. This is an awkward sort of a twist. So if it feels a little bit crunched, you're probably doing it right. All right, if your hand is lifted, return it to the hip. Come on back to center. Everyone gently bring your left toes back down to the mat for a crescent lunge. Kick off the back foot, come on up to the top of your mat. Shake it out a little bit. Take a break if you need to, grab some water if you need to. But once again, let's make sure that we have a block up at the top of the mat. Notice again, I've got it, I'd say about a foot in front of my left foot off the mat. Okay, stand up nice and tall. We're going to step the right foot back for warrior two. So that's a big step back. Back foot's parallel to the back of the mat. Front heel aligns with the back arch and you bend into the front knee. Inhale and sweep your arms up to a T for warrior two. And then turn your head so that you're looking over your front hand, which is the left hand. In this posture, your shoulders and hips are open to the side. And it's just your arms and your head that are turning forward. Bring your right arm behind you, flip the left palm, reach back for reverse warrior, still bending into the front knee, keeping that left shoulder relaxed. Inhale to come back to warrior two. Front elbow comes to the front knee, reach the right fingertips up overhead for side angle pose. Stay really strong in the legs. Inhale to come back to warrior two one more time. Bring your hands to your hips. Scoot your back foot in just a little bit to shorten your stance here. Keep your right hand on the back hip. Left hand is going to go towards the block or your sofa or whatever you've got. Pour your weight into the left foot to see if you can get your right foot off of the mat. Left hand connected to the block, left foot connected to the floor. See if you can get your right leg up to hip height. If you're feeling steady, maybe you can even stack the hips here. And if you're feeling really balanced, maybe even reach your right fingertips up towards the ceiling or turn your gaze to look up towards the lifted hand. Now this is a very complicated balancing posture, so wherever you're at is perfect. I hope you're trying it out, but maybe you're just taking notes tonight. Just do your best. Give yourself credit for trying it out. If your fingertips are lifted, bring your hand back to your hip, and then everyone gently make your way back to warrior two. Again, doesn't have to be pretty. Feel free to scoot if you need to. Nice job. All right, hands come to the hips. Kick off the back foot and come on up to the top of your mat. We're going to switch sides. So move the block over to the other side. Find mountain pose. And then we're going to step the left foot back for warrior two on the other direction. So back foot is parallel to the back of the mat. Front heel aligned with the back arch. Back leg is straight and the front knee is bent. As you inhale, arms come up to a T. Your shoulders are relaxed. Your core is nice and strong here. Turn your head to look over your front right hand. Make sure you're breathing and that your shoulders are relaxed. Then bring the left arm behind the low back. Flip the right palm. Reach up as you keep bending into the front knee for exalted warrior. Stay nice and strong in the legs and in the belly. Inhale, come back to warrior two. And then bend the front elbow, place it on the front thigh. Reach the back fingertips up over the top of your mat so you have this nice diagonal line for side angle pose. Inhale to come back up to warrior two. All right, hands come to the hips. Scoot your back foot in just a little bit so you have a more steady base. Eye is on the block or wherever that right hand is going to go. Begin to pour your weight into the right leg. Right hand connects to the block, the floor, or your sofa. And see if you can get your left leg off of the mat. It helps to flex that left foot. And if you're feeling steady, maybe try stacking the hips, opening them out towards the left side, or try reaching the left fingertips up towards the ceiling. Steady breath. And then the final challenge, wherever you're at, is you're welcome to try looking up towards the ceiling and notice what that does. But yogi's choice, you do what feels best for you. If your hand is lifted, bring your hand back to the hip. And then everyone gently step your way back to warrior two. All right, nice job. Hands come to the hips, kick off the back foot and come on up to the top of your mat. Once again, shake it out a little bit, whatever it is that you need to be comfortable. And then come on into the middle of your mat. And we're going to come to a wide stance. My toes are at 45-degree angles. So the heels are in a little bit, toes are out a little bit. Hands come to the hips. We're going to come into a squat. And in this squat, we want the shins, or we want the knees and the ankles to align rather. So the shins want to be rather straight. So we want to avoid having the knees go over the ankles and instead have a nice wide stance. All right, nice and tall here, strong in the core. Arms come up to 90-degree cactus arms. Nice, steady breath. Strong in the core, strong in the legs. And maybe you've been waiting to do this squat all night and you're like, yes, I am so glad we're finally doing this. And if you want to go a little deeper, yes, you're welcome to do that. And if you're like, no, I do not want to go deeper, that's fine too. Just stay strong wherever you're at. It's perfect. On an inhale, straighten the arms and straighten the legs, 5-pointed star. Bring your hands to your hips. We're going to pivot the feet. Your right foot is going to point straight out to the side. Your left foot is going to be perpendicular. Check it out. It's sort of like legs for triangle pose. Arms come out to the sides. Let your fingertips come down to the shin or the thigh as the left fingertips reach up. Trikonasana or triangle pose. As you exhale, bring your left fingertips down towards the right shin. Staying strong and steady in the core, make your way through center. You're going to pivot your right foot so it's parallel to the edge of the mat. Pivot your left foot so that it's perpendicular and bring your hands to your left shin. Both legs are straight here. And we've got this left heel is intersecting by an invisible line, the right foot. Strong and steady, we'll come up to triangle pose. So left fingertips to the leg, right fingertips up towards the ceiling. Nice strong legs. All right, inhale to come back up to center. Bring your feet back to that 45-degree angle and come back in to goddess. So that was one small piece of a moon salutation to help kind of balance out some of the sun work and all of that great moon work that we did. If you want to go a little bit deeper in this goddess pose, you're welcome to do that. Make sure that you're breathing and doing what's best for your body. All right, straighten the arms, straighten the legs, hands come to the hips, come on up to the top of your mat, and find mountain pose one more time. Nice and tall and strong. Inhale and float your fingertips up. A little bit of a back bend, so open the arms, open the chest up towards the ceiling. Stay strong in the belly and in the legs. Exhale, hinge at the hips and swan dive all the way forward. Make your way back to downward facing dog. Pedal the feet out, so alternate bending each knee. Get some movement in the hips. And then come to stillness with the legs. Come on down to your knees and scoot around to a seat on your mat. And we'll extend the right leg out. Bring the sole of the left foot on the inside of the right thigh as you sit up nice and tall. Turn your torso towards the extended leg, which is the right leg. And we're going to start to hinge forward, leading with the chest. I've got my hands on either side of the leg to give me some extra stability, but I'm leading with my heart, keeping a nice long neck and a nice flat spine. And this right leg is as straight as it can be, but if you need to keep a soft bend in it, that's totally fine. Inhale to come back up to center. Bring your left fingertips behind you and your right hand on the bent knee as you twist to the left. Keep your right hand on the bent leg. As you inhale, sweep your left arm up overhead. We're reaching towards that extended right leg. The idea here is to really open up through the left side of the body. So if that foot looks really far away, don't worry about it at all. And if you can grab it, cool. Wherever you are, keep breathing. Inhale to come back to center. We're going to take the left hand and plant it on the floor out to the left of the bent knee. And from here, start to pour our weight into the front shin, coming into a falling star. So in this posture, I'm resting on my left shin. My left hand is on the mat. My right fingertips are up towards the ceiling and my right leg is straight. Now, if this is not agreeable for your left shin, you can always be down on the hip and just work on reaching up. So your choice, but a little bit of falling star to go with our moon practice tonight. Exhale to release your hips back down to the mat, and we'll switch sides. So left leg extends out, sole of the right foot on the inner thigh. Make sure the weight's even between both hips and you're sitting up nice and tall. Turn the torso towards the left leg, and keeping your hands on either side of the leg and leading with the heart, hinge forward for a forward fold, Janu Shirshasana. On an inhale, lift the torso back up. Right fingertips come directly behind you. Left hand on the bent knee. As you sit up nice and tall, exhale and twist to the right. This back right hand is just a little bit of a kickstand, like on a bike. So most of your weight and strength is in the torso, and that's just a little extra tool to help prop you up. Keep your left hand on the bent knee. As you inhale, float your right arm overhead, reaching towards that extended left foot, opening up through the right torso and right hip. On an inhale, come back to center. We're going to take the right hand, plant it on the floor outside of the right knee as we work our way into fallen star. So pressing into the front shin, straightening the left leg, reaching the left arm up overhead. I'm trying to create this great distance from my left hand to my left foot. And again, if this is rough on your shin, you can always stay on the hip and just extend through the left side. Exhale to gently release your fallen star and bring the soles of your feet together. Nice work. Grab a hold of the shins and sit up nice and tall. And in this cobbler pose, or Baddha Konasana, you decide how close you want your feet to your body. So if it's closer, if it's comfortable for you to have your feet closer in, do that. If it feels better to have them further away, go for it. But you're hanging on to your ankles or shins and sitting up nice and tall. A little bit of a back bend. Open the heart up towards the ceiling. And there's no movement in the legs here. We're just letting gravity and the shape of the hips decide how far the knees are from the floor. As you exhale, we're going to start to hinge forward, curling in, letting the shoulders round. Steady breath. Inhale to come back up to center. Straight out on the mat for Dandasana. And again, we're trying to have the legs as straight as possible, but if you need a little bend in them, go for it. Feet are flexed. You're sitting up nice and tall. Fingertips are on either side of the hips. On an inhale, float your fingertips up overhead. Keep the shoulders down on the back, nice long neck. And then leading with the heart, exhale and hinge forward. So chest first, and then release the hands wherever is comfortable. Shoulders stay nice and down away from the ears. And then from here, let yourself go a little bit further forward. So you can walk your hands forward. Now you can let the shoulders round up. See how far you can reach. These forward folding postures are calming on our nervous system and have a natural tendency to cause us to go inward. So folds are a great way to counteract some of this chaotic moon energy. As you inhale, walk the hands in as the torso lifts. And then come on up to the top of your mat. So knees are bent, toes are up at the very, very top. Extend your arms straight out in front of you and sit up nice and tall and strong. Engage your abdominal muscles, so pull in the low belly. Feel free to push on the low belly if you're not sure where it is. Tuck the ribs, keep the shoulders relaxed. Keep your feet grounded. And as you exhale, you're going to slowly start to lower yourself down to the floor. Again, doing your best to keep your feet connected to the mat. Use your core. And ultimately let yourself lay on the mat, finding a nice long spine. So nestling the shoulders down, walking the feet in so that the knees are bent. And just do some adjusting here to really take advantage of laying on this nice solid floor beneath us. And then bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees be wide for Supta Baddha Konasana, or reclined cobbler pose. Let your arms be by your sides with the palms face up. Let your shoulders relax. Let your chest soften. And let the hips soften. Using your hands, gently guide the knees back together and hug both knees in towards your chest and just gently rock from side to side or front to back. Lower your left foot to the floor. Extend your right foot up towards the ceiling, flexing the sole of the foot skyward, and bring your hands behind your right thigh. Press the thigh into your hands as you just gently pull the hands and leg a little bit closer to the body. Relax the lifted foot and do some circles or whatever shape you can create with your foot to open up the ankle. And reverse direction on the circles. Come to stillness with the foot, flexing it up towards the ceiling one more time. Walk your hands up a little further if you can and see if you can pull the leg a little bit closer to the body. Lower the right foot down to the floor, keeping that knee bent, and inhale to float the left foot up towards the ceiling. Hands come behind the thigh. And if it feels far to get your hands to connect behind your thigh, this can be a nice place to use a strap or like a face cloth to give you a little extra space. That left foot is flexed, and you're pressing the thigh into the hands as you pull the leg a little bit closer to the body. Relax the foot and do some circles with the ankle. And make sure that you go in both directions. Come to stillness with the foot, flexing it towards the ceiling once again. Walk your hands up more towards the shin and pull the leg a little bit closer. Release your left foot down to the floor and hug your knees in towards your chest. Extend your arms out to a T. And actually lower your feet down to the floor for a moment here. So knees are bent, feet are flat on the floor. Lift your hips up, scoot your hips over more towards the left side of your mat. So your feet stay in the same place, but you're lifting up the hips, scooting them over towards the left side of the mat. Then you're going to bring your knees in and let your knees go over towards the right side. And if it feels good, turn your head towards the left. Now, this posture is meant to be a passive twist. And your knees may stack on top of one another, or they may not. Your knees may rest on the floor, or they may be very far away from the floor. I encourage you to find a version of this posture that you can find restful for yourself. So, for example, if your knees are up in the air, maybe that's a nice place to put some blocks for some stability if they don't go all the way over. So feel free to play around with that if this posture is challenging you tonight. Inhale to come back to center, placing your feet back down on the floor. Knees are bent, feet flat on the mat. You're going to lift the hips up. This time scoot the hips over towards the right side of the mat. Knees come in towards the chest and fall over towards the left side for a twist. And if it feels good, turn your head towards your right hand. And this side might be more flexible, or it might be less flexible than the other side. So if you did an adjustment on the right, maybe you need to do the same thing or something different on the left. Feel free to experiment. Inhale, bring the legs back to center. Hug them in towards your chest one more time. And from here, we're going to move into our final resting posture of Shavasana. You have a couple options for Shavasana tonight. One option is to have your feet wide on the mat and let your knees fall in on one another to give some relief for those of us who have discomfort in the low back. For me, I turn my toes in a little bit when I do this to let the legs rest on one another. Option 2 is to place the soles of the feet together and the knees wide, as we did previously. And for a traditional version of Shavasana, extend the legs straight out on the mat with your feet mat width apart, and just let your feet relax off to the sides. Make sure your shoulders are nestled down on your back, so you might need to press the back of your head into the mat to lift the shoulders up and tuck them down. Arms are down by your sides with your palms face up, and really take up some space here. So let the backs of your hands be off the mat. Take advantage of this practicing at home and all this space, the solid floor beneath you. And let yourself feel the effects of your moon practice tonight. Close your eyes and just rest. There is no more effort. Slowly allow your breath to deepen and bring some movement back into your toes and fingers, just a little bit of wiggling. On your inhale, reach your arms up overhead and extend your legs out nice and long for one long final stretch, reaching through the fingertips and toes. And then hug your knees in as you roll onto your right side. Using as little energy as possible, make your way up to a seat with your eyes closed, sitting up nice and tall. And when you find that seat, bring your palms together in prayer in front of your heart. I hope that maybe Whatever type of energy you were feeling coming into class tonight maybe is balanced out a little bit as we explored this moon practice together. We did the alternate nostril breathing of Nadi Shodhana and half moon pose, revolved half moon, and all the other moons in between. This is a time for us to recharge, to re-energize, and to turn inward in order to find clarity. I hope you can take some of this off of your mat and into your world. We'll close by chanting the sound of Om, and we'll chant it just one time under this sturgeon moon. Take a full exhale and a deep inhale for Om. The light in me honors and acknowledges the light in each of you with great respect. Namaste. Thanks for practicing with me tonight. I'm so glad that you made it. Feel free to share the link. Check out the OLLI website to sign up for fall classes, and take good care of yourself under this full moon tonight.